If Georgia wins. Tomorrow night, the Southeastern Conference Championship game will take place between Louisiana State University and the University of Georgia. Now, Louisiana State is ranked first, Alabama is ranked second, Oklahoma State third, Stanford fourth, and Virginia Tech fifth. Now, Houston and Louisiana State are the only two undefeated teams still left in college football. But if Georgia wins, then it will simply be Houston as undefeated, and Louisiana State will not be undefeated, obviously. So, what will happen if Georgia wins? Well, likely, something will happen where, obviously, Louisiana State will drop down a spot, and that'll be dropped down, let's see, number 1 here would be left with Alabama. Despite already losing to Louisiana State's loss to Georgia would put them, or would put Alabama at number 1. Now, number 2 becomes the question. Now, the question here is who comes at number 2? Do we have Louisiana State? God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. Answer the goddamn phone. Answer the fucking phone. You gonna answer the... Did we do it? Alright, fuck it. Alright. Now, number 2, we don't... Wait. Jump cut. Number 2, what we have here, number 2, we don't know if that could be LSU. Then the Galaxy's at peace, the last Metroid is in captivity and all of that. But if Louisiana State loses, then number 2, this wasn't a whiteboard, was it? God fucking damn. Alright. Then LSU is not number 2. Who would likely become number 2? Well, probably Oklahoma State. That also assumes that they win tomorrow against Oklahoma. And Oklahoma State, if you ever bet on anything in the Big 12, bet that Oklahoma State will never beat Oklahoma if they're ranked higher than Oklahoma. Now, when they're ranked lower, yeah, I mean, it's anybody can win that. So we're just going to take it with a grain of salt. Oklahoma State will lose to Oklahoma tomorrow. Who's going to be third? Well, Stanford. Stanford can still lose to UCLA, but that's not going to happen. I don't think UCLA actually can beat Stanford. I don't think UCLA can... I don't know how they actually got into the national championship, or the Pac-12 championship game, or whatever it is now. Now, if Stanford loses, which is actually less likely than Georgia beating LSU. Now, Georgia's not going to beat LSU. This is just all in hypothesis here. If Stanford loses, who goes to number 1? Well, the likely choice is no, not number 2 also, but Virginia Tech, or it could just be LSU, but assume that LSU gets beat so bad by Georgia that they actually have to drop down. Now, that would put VT, Virginia Tech, here at number 2. Now, if Virginia Tech actually makes it to number 2, they will probably be the least deserving team ever to make the national championship in BCS history, aside from Ohio State in 2007. VT, here, Virginia Tech, likely won't move up to number 2, but if they do, then we'll have Alabama and Virginia Tech in the national championship game. And what will we have learned? Absolutely nothing, because you know who's still down there, floating down there, probably around the number 8 or the number 9. We'll give them 8. That's right, Houston. Houston is still down there. You can barely even see that. I set the camera up that the bottom of the whiteboard can barely even be seen by the camera, but Houston's down there. And if we played games at only 59 minutes and 45 seconds, you know who would be number 1 or number 2, but is probably sitting somewhere on number 7. Let me just check that. Actually, fuck that. Sitting at number 15 is... Wait, God fucking damn it! You gonna fucking answer the goddamn phone? You fucking stop calling us? Yeah, alright, fuck. Fuck. Answer the... Yeah, fucking Beauty Branch or some shit telling my mom, you know, she's got a fucking thing going. You know, fuck. Fuck you, phone. Why do we even have landlines anymore? I will unplug that goddamn phone. I will unplug that goddamn phone. Alright, we're good. Sitting here at number 15 is Wisconsin. who has 2 losses, both to Hail Marys. Now, Hail Marys shouldn't count as losses in Wisconsin's case, because those were both games where they played better than both of those teams. Now, we've got here Alabama likely versus Virginia Tech, well, actually likely versus LSU in the national championship game. But what I will consider the national championship game, assuming Wisconsin wins tomorrow against Michigan State, and we can't assume anything, even though Wisconsin technically beat them after 59 minutes the last time they played. Wisconsin and Houston is the actual national championship game, assuming that's what actually happens. What will likely happen, it will be Houston versus the default opponent for teams coming out of non-BCS automatic qualifying conferences. That's Oklahoma, because they will win the Big 12. I think if Oklahoma actually doesn't win the Big 12, then the world explodes. Because they will find a way every year, despite being the 2nd or 3rd best team in the conference, Oklahoma will find a way to win the Big 12. So, it's just like Kansas in basketball in the Big 12, you know. But Houston versus Oklahoma will likely be your Fiesta Bowl matchup. But let's assume that we've got Wisconsin and Houston in, what's the bowl game that nobody really wants to go to? Probably Sugar Bowl. Actually, since it's Wisconsin coming out, it's probably the Rose Bowl. So we have Wisconsin and Houston in the Rose Bowl. Now, Houston's much better than Wisconsin. Or we actually don't know that. Wisconsin's pretty good on defense. Houston's really good on offense, but I assume Houston would win it there. Now, Alabama's playing Virginia Tech here in the national championship game. Alabama wins that. Alabama gets crowned the national championship, and all the Bama fans get to, you know, parade in the streets and do all that stuff that Bama fans do. And Alabama will actually run for 3 years straight, winning the national title. But there is one thing. This is run by computers, correct? Yes, the BCS computers. Now, what do computers do? They break. Now, if you try to divide by 0 on an old computer, it will break, all right? And if you try to divide by 0 by assuming Georgia beats LSU, Oklahoma State loses to Oklahoma, UCLA beats Stanford, Clemson beats Virginia Tech, any, you know, Wisconsin, I mean, the Big Ten championship is, you know, moot anyway. But assuming all of that happens, the BCS computers actually break. And this is all rendered, God fucking damn it, I can't speak today, rendered useless. Now you look down at the bottom here, the BCS automatically defaults to a national championship game between one of these 5 opponents. Let's see, we have number 1, this is the obvious one, is Ohio State. And they can't think of a better team to put in, you know, if like a good team loses in this, God fucking damn it, if a good team loses in their conference championship game or something like that, they'll put Ohio State in their place. Number 2 is Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma's had a good season this year, so it is likely that we will see them in the national championship game. Now, 3rd, Notre Dame can actually have like a losing record and still make a BCS bowl, I actually figured out. Because they will get an automatic qualification, so they're 3rd. Number 4 would be Florida State. Now, they've actually gotten better at not putting Florida State in the games where they can't handle themselves in recent years. And then, I can't think of a 5th one, so we're just going to stick, oh, fuck it, yeah, number 5. Even though they are technically not allowed into the championship game, USC. So we have Ohio State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Florida State, and USC from our pool of teams that can go to the national championship game if we have all upsets run the table here. I'm going to pick the BCS loves Ohio State and USC. So Ohio State plays USC in the national championship game January like 9th or so, and your national champions are the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, in a scenario like this, where Ohio State can't win the national championship game, or if something like that happens, they'll actually do a quick little search that I like to call the Wikipedia random article game. And what they will do is they will click random articles on Wikipedia until they find one that is a university. So what might happen if Ohio State and USC don't play, or Alabama and LSU or all of these teams don't play, then what will happen is, from my research, we will have the Mississippi State Bulldogs versus the Mid-America Nazarene University Pioneers, I think. And MNU is the national champion. So there we go. That's what's actually going to happen. Now, this all assumes that Georgia beats Louisiana State on Saturday, which is physically impossible. So this is all basically moot. The national champion is LSU right there. That's your national champion. I predict them beating Alabama 9-6.